All right, what is up, y'all? This is DFS Dart Throws and Cash. So I'm gonna go over the Week 5 main slate picks that we had before, and then I'm gonna do a quick little lineup for tonight's Monday Night Showdown. So overall, we had a pretty good week. I'd say we hit on probably like 70% of our players getting value, so that's pretty awesome. My build wasn't that great with the Godwin's Evans stack, and then a couple other players didn't really perform exactly as I thought they would in that lineup, but the other players that I picked were pretty great. So let's go ahead and talk about Justin Herbert. He did not do extremely well. He kind of underperformed a little bit. He had 14 fantasy points. And then we've got Austin Eckler. He absolutely killed it. He had around 40 fantasy points. I couldn't get an exact number here. But yeah, he had an amazing game. Mike Williams had another amazing game. Stacking the other side of the ball worked very well with Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, and Njoku. So if you had these guys as your core plays, you would have ended up doing extremely well this week. Moving on, we got the Bills Steelers. So nobody on the Steelers side of the ball was doing that well. But if you picked Josh Allen, Diggs, and Gabe Davis, you had an amazing day. So yeah, Jameson Crowder was ruled out. Isaiah McKenzie was ruled out, and it just really opened up an opportunity for Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Shakir to have a great game. The only person who didn't perform that well from the Bills that we had picked was Devin Singletary. Unfortunately, they did run the ball a lot more in the second half, but they didn't use Devin Singletary because he's the starter, which is kind of one of the things that I had brought up, but it's all right. I mean, that kind of hurt our lineup overall. We could have switched off to a better running back, but it's all good. It happens with fantasy. So we got Deontay Johnson. He's a freak of nature. He made some really good catches. One was out of bounds in the end zone, unfortunately. He didn't absolutely kill you in your lineups if you had him with 11 points. Then you got Fryermuth. He had a kind of a dud. I think he got injured kind of early on, and yeah, he just didn't play that well. All the tight ends didn't really do that well this week. Yeah, not that great of a week for tight ends in general. So George Pickens, he absolutely killed it. He had a lot of targets, some good catches, so he will be exciting to watch in the future for sure. Um, so Brady had a good game overall. He exceeded value, which was like at 18 fantasy points, so that was a good pick. Fournette, amazing. I mean, he caught like 10 balls. Yeah, he had two touchdowns, I believe. So Fournette was an amazing pick. If you faded him, then that was probably a bad idea on your part, which I kind of did fade him in a lot of my lineups. So um, yeah, I mean, I kind of picked the wrong guys with Godwin and Evans. I mean, Brady threw the ball 50 plus times, but Godwin and Evans did not really take advantage of that. Godwin got tackled on the one. Evans got tackled on the one going into the end zone. So, yeah, it would have been very, very helpful to have Brady get those extra two passing touchdowns and have Godwin and Evans get those extra two touchdowns. I mean, that alone, what would that be? That would be like 20 combined points to inflate our lineup. So, yeah, kind of unfortunate that that didn't work out. Now, on the other side of the ball, I mean, the Falcons couldn't get anything going. Drake London completely had a terrible game, 7.5 fantasy points. Algier couldn't get anything going. The Falcons' offense just looked miserable up against that Buccaneers defense. So it is what it is on that one, but we had a couple good picks there. So Damien Harris with this Patriot Lions game, he got injured pretty early on, so it was all Ramondre. Crap, I didn't get an exact number for him there, but he killed it. I mean, he had like probably like 30 fantasy points. Going on, like going from here on out, Ramondre will be a stellar running back option if Damien Harris is out. I think Harris would have had a really big game if he didn't get injured early on. You had Jacoby Myers. He had an awesome game. I mean, I kind of called it there. He's getting the high volume workload. I think he had over 20 fantasy points at that $4,800 price tag. So pretty amazing value there. Jared Goff, he did not play very well. Patriots kind of just like blew them out of the water. Jamal Williams had a pretty mediocre game, around like 5 fantasy points. I think it was like 6 fantasy points. The only person who really returned value on the Lions was Josh Reynolds that I had picked. TJ Hawkinson, a dud of a game. So that was kind of unfortunate on that side of the ball. I had some faith in the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown still probably injured. He only got like 5 points himself. So it is what it is. Vikings Bears game. I really like this game a lot. At least like looking at the Viking side of the ball. So you had Kirk Cousins get 23 fantasy points. He got a rushing touchdown for you. Um, there were a couple other touchdowns where they ran it in with Dalvin Cook, so he kind of mooched off some of the points there. I kind of wish he would have had some more passing touchdowns. Yeah, Dalvin Cook with a 26-point game, amazing game there. Justin Jefferson, 33 points, still astounding. Yeah, the Vikings side of the ball looked very, very good against this Bears D. And then I had Khalil Herbert on there if Montgomery's out, but he was in. So if you picked Montgomery, that was a good pick for you. Uh, yeah, Khalil Herbert did nothing with David Montgomery in, which is kind of like why I said if he's out, then go ahead and grab Khalil Herbert. So those were good picks there. My running backs, pretty much all good picks other than James Robinson. And it sucks because like I picked him in the majority of my lineups too. So it's like I picked all of my worst players in all my lineups. So it's like kind of unfortunate for me. But hey, I mean, it just means I need to diversify my lineups more in the future. You can't just have the same plays all the way across the board. So maybe I just need to get a little bit different, something to think about for next week and the weeks to come. So yeah, Derrick Henry had 2 rushing touchdowns, I think, and over 100 rushing yards. Alvin Kamara, he was the the main back again. He would have had even more rushing touchdowns if Taysom Hill didn't go in for the end zone himself a few times. So Alvin Kamara, super cheap price. I'm glad I touched on him. James Robinson, not that great. The Jaguars were leaning on Travis Etienne for some reason. James Robinson didn't get very many receptions, didn't really get that many rushing opportunities. Raheem Mostert, he killed it. He was a great running back play. That was a value play. So yeah, pat myself on the back there. But this one's not so good. We had we had a few wide receivers that were kind of somewhat duds in the week. Tyreek Hill, that's kind of not necessarily our fault. Teddy Bridgewater got injured pretty early on, and the 12 points wouldn't kill you. I mean, it's something. It's not a dud. Debo Samuel, he had 11.2 points. I think that the Panthers D was shutting him down pretty well, but the run game was just terrible. I didn't even watch that game being a Panthers fan. I'm just glad Matt Rule's out. We fired Jon Snow as well, which is very interesting because our defense was actually the only good part of our team. So I don't see why Jon Snow got fired for that and how Ben McAdoo hasn't been fired yet. But hopefully they just clean house and we can get some real talented coaches in and go on from there. So AJ Brown, that Eagles Cardinals game wasn't as big of a shootout as I thought it would be. AJ Brown got 6 points. Marquise Brown scored over 20. I want to say 22. Sorry, I don't have like all the exact numbers. It's hard to find them from DK values. What I do to find these numbers is I go back in and look at the next week's competition and I type the names in. And if they're on bye or if they're not on the main slate next week, it's really hard to find their exact stats. I wish DraftKings would have like a whole page where you can just look at the players and how they scored. But I in order to find these guys, I would have to go to the box scores and just add up their numbers individually by hand, and that takes so much time. So I apologize for not having the exact numbers on some of these guys, but if there's a resource that you guys use to find these numbers, please let me know. If that would be really helpful. Just save some time because I do go in the box score and add up some of the points, and that takes a good bit of time and a little bit of brain power. So yeah, anything to save time would be helpful for me. CeeDee Lamb, he had kind of a dud of a game. The Cowboys, I knew the Cowboys were going to beat the Rams pretty bad. I mean, that spread was just completely wrong. I put some money on that game. They had the Cowboys plus 5-5 on the spread, and the Cowboys ended up winning by like 9 or something. So I thought it was going to be a little bit high scoring, more high scoring than that, but yeah, the Cowboys completely destroyed them, which we'll get to in a second on the defenses. So yeah, DK Metcalf, still another freakishly good game. He even caught a ball in the end zone, and it got called back. So DK is just a freak of nature. He's getting back to where he was. Geno Smith is looking pretty talented for the most part. Yeah, that duo is pretty great. Lockett had another amazing week too. So keep an eye on the Seahawks, man. Those guys really know how to play. At least the offense does. Terry McLaurin, he got 12.6, and then Curtis Samuel got 12.2. So Curtis Samuel was around 5,900. So they weren't the best picks, but they did okay for the most part. Yeah, they didn't kill you. Chris Olave hurt his head. He caught a touchdown pass, and then like after he slammed his head directly in the ground, so he didn't finish that game out, which really sucks. I like Chris Olave a lot. I mean, just as a player, so it's unfortunate to see an injury like that happen. But he did return value with that touchdown catch at 15.7. And then Robert Woods, he played pretty poorly. I feel kind of bad about that. I was kind of high on Robert Woods this week too, so it is what it is. Overall, I think I did pretty well on these picks. Zach Ertz, he was my main tight end this week. But like I said, most tight ends didn't do very well, so 10.8, it's not too bad. But I was expecting maybe a 20-point game from him at least. Goddard, on the other hand, he almost had a 20-point game at 17.5 points. So that was a pretty decent pick. Conklin gave us a big fat 0. I don't know what he was doing. I didn't really watch that game. But it seemed like the Jets just couldn't. Wait, the Jets won by a lot, I think, actually. Yeah, I don't know what was happening with Conklin. So the dart throws, Caleb Huntley did not do well. He scored around 5 points. Again, sorry, I apologize for not having the exact values. Westbrook Akine caught his first pass of the year, and it was like a 50-yarder. So I think he ended up like at least 6 points. Khalif Raymond didn't do very well. Sorry about that. Dalton Schultz, he's injured still. His knee was bothering him on the sideline, so he did not do well at all. I think he got 0. And then Khalil Shakir, our best dart throw, and a lot of people had him in their lineups and like the Millie Maker and the top 5. So Khalil Shakir was a great pick. Yeah, Quinton Morris, I had him as the backup to Dawson Knox. He did okay for that price tag at 2,600. I mean, yeah, that's not terrible, but it's not great. I mean, it's not like 10, 15 points. The other guy a lot of people were on was, I think his name was Cade Otton or something like that. He's on the Bucks, but with Cameron Brate out, he seemed to be the good backup on the Bucks. So, yeah, defense, Bills did pretty well. Cowboys did even better. Whoops. Steelers, not so good. They did have a couple. They had a turnover and a block kick. I don't know what they ended up at because the Bills scored so many points, but it probably wasn't that great, especially compared to, I don't know, either the Bills or the Cowboys. Cowboys, that was my main defense on the week, so proud of myself for that one. And that is it for the review. Let's go ahead and look at this showdown real quick. Sorry I'm being a little quiet. My baby is in the living room, and I think she's sleeping, so I'm trying to be a little bit more quiet, even though I'm not succeeding. Yeah, so let's go ahead and build this. I'll do like a cash lineup real quick, just to do one. So I'm gonna go with, I think, let's do Patrick Mahomes as the captain, just because he's gonna get a lot of points. Do not put this in a tournament. Yeah, just do this in like a cash lineup, 50-50 double up. So you got Patrick Mahomes, captain. He's going to get us a lot of points regardless. And then I'm going to do a double kicker. And then let's look at this. So we got, I like Renfro. He's too cheap. And then we're going to do, sorry, I'm thinking. I think Josh Jacobs, no, that's not who. Let's go ahead and do Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then Travis Kelce. You know what? I don't like that. Let's do something else. I'm going to do a kicker as the captain. This sounds stupid, but it'll probably work out. So kicker as the captain, and then another kicker. And then let's do Renfro, like I said. And then let's do Patrick Mahomes. Devontae Adams, and Travis Kelce. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it, to be honest, because the kicker they'll probably both get 10 points. So if you do the captains, that's 25 between them. Hunter Renfrow probably like 15, that's 40. Patrick Mahomes will probably get 30, so that's 70. Devontae Adams will at least get 20, so that's 90, and then Kelce will probably get 20 himself. So yeah, I don't hate that lineup. This is what I would put in some cash lineups. It's really hard to do for like a tournament. I can't really figure out a good lineup for a tournament other than putting somebody um, like Renfrow or something as the captain. Because if you go ahead and put like, I don't know, let's say Travis Kelce as the captain and try to stack him with Mahomes, you're left with like 5,000 remaining on each player, and then that would just stick you with like kickers, and you could do Hunter Renfrow and then like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I mean, that's not really like maximizing your upside. You'd have to like go back down here. This is like honestly what I would do in some of my tournament lineups is just go straight for somebody like Noah Gray. He's got some usage in this offense, and he's really cheap. So even if he catches like 1 or 2 passes, he'll return value. So he's targeted 2, 3, 2, 1, and he had a rushing attempt for a touchdown. So they like to use him in the red zone. So I mean, if he gets a touchdown for you or like does really anything at all, then it's worth it. The only other guy I would consider maybe down here is like Fortson, because he got a 10-yard touchdown game 1, and then he actually got a touchdown and or like the last game, and he had a touchdown in game 1 too. So yeah, he could be considered. Sky Moore in consideration for these GPP plays. Hardman in consideration too. Hollins for sure. And then you could just do like, I don't know, Renfrow, and then maybe like Derek Carr or something. That's actually not a terrible lineup. I mean, you just want to maximize like upside with 2 pass catchers, and then you have like the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 on the Raiders. So that's actually not a bad tournament lineup. I'll probably enter that in for just like a cheap tournament. All right, so that's my video today. Sorry I was a little quiet because the baby's in the living room, but I just wanted to do this video to get it out here because I said I would for 1, and then for 2, I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent. Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in, and I appreciate it. I will see you guys Wednesday for that Thursday night game. So have a good one. Bye.